So busy week, huh?
A little bit nuts, it's you never know what's going to happen in real estate. And and I say that nothing surprises me anymore after, 15, 16 years doing it. No, that's not true. I still get surprised. Like, oh, okay, underwriter, you okay, we'll do it. The hoops are flaming and I will jump through them with as much grace as possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad we were able to work it out.
Absolutely. Yep, for sure.
This is cool. So, Becca, nice to meet you. Normally, what I do when I'm meeting a new friend, if I don't have a lot of backstory, is I just like to, immediately dig deep and go right back into your childhood, open up your deepest traumas, and then
Buckle
just start
up.
from there. Something light,
Buckle up.
right? Right.
There's some stories.
Where no, where'd you come from? What part of the country are you in?
I am local to the Pacific Northwest. I grew up in a small town called Eatonville, Washington. And if you know of it or if you know anyone from there, I probably know them too, and perhaps the name of their dog and the street that they grew up on.
That
Small
kind of thing.
town,
Okay.
and the connections bridge generations. So just because they are not my age does not mean that I don't know them.
Sure.
So
That's
yeah.
amazing. I
Yeah.
love those small towns. I mean, I'm kind of living in a small town like that, in Northern California right now, but not quite that small. Um, yeah,
Well, here,
I've
let me
always
give
loved.
you a small example of how small it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So the town was founded by the Van Eaton family. It is Eatonville. There is a correlation in the name, and Dr. Tom Van Eaton delivered me, and I still know
Okay.
him and his daughter. His daughter is one of my best friends. She's my forever friend. So that's
Okay.
how small Eatonville is.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I love that. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I have one older brother.
Okay.
And so we're both still local. I live in Bonnie Lake now, which is stone's throw from Eatonville, but so I'm still connected to the community, but just different town. Yeah.
Okay. Um, wow, that must be crazy. So do you run your business out of Eatonville or out of
No, so as a real estate agent, I have never had a house move for me. So I go lots of different places. Eatonville is definitely a community that I serve. But I'll go, ideally, I like to keep in Pierce County, but I'll go to the surrounding counties. So Tacoma, Puyallup is really my jam. But South King is great too. Thurston, Kitsap, all of those. But yeah. So
right on? So, you had like 300 people in your graduating class, or how did was
Far,
it
far
was that?
fewer. Far fewer. I think a third of that. Gosh, I think there was maybe 100, 120.
Okay.
I don't really remember, but yeah, no, not 300. No,
We're really just trying to
maybe
paint a
in the whole
picture.
school.
That's wild. That's
Hmm.
wild. Yeah, super fun. And so are you Pacific Northwest is notorious, especially when you get any farther north than kind of where we are, maybe a couple hours farther up. Um, pretty cloudy and rainy most of the time. Or are
That's what
you
we tell everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I just want to keep the myth going so we keep everyone out of the Pacific Northwest.
absolutely. It rains all of the time, and our summers are awful.
It's the worst.
Hmm.
Um, that's awesome. Well, so how'd you get into real estate?
I was recruited into the industry by the gal that I had purchased my first home through. I went from one failing industry to another. Really strategic move on my part. I had been in the event industry, and this was in the recession, the terrible, terrible recession that we had a couple of years ago. You might have remembered it. But I was in the event industry, and that was failing. And so I jumped over into the real estate industry, which was also failing. So I cut my teeth on short sales and foreclosures. And, if I could do it in that market and succeed, I can do anything. So I've been in the business since 2009, 2010-ish. So yeah, the gal
Nice.
that recruited me, Julianne, she is still a wonderful friend of mine, and she just saw something in me and said, I think you could do this. And I'm like, well, not doing anything else, so let's try. And
Yeah.
the rest is history. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, what a time. Man, I'm trying to think. I think it was 98 or 99 when I started working in title insurance. So I was in real estate for a long time.
Mhm.
Um, I've ridden those waves and man, those times and those bubbles, it is a wild ride to be starting right after, the 2008 housing bubble,
Mhm.
especially. That is just a crazy, but to your point, one of the things that I've heard from every real estate agent that started around that time was you pretty much can't shake me, right? Like I
Yeah,
came in when there was nothing,
yeah,
like
yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
Well,
I ate an
that's
awful
really
lot of top ramen and baked potatoes.
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. So what else is there about you? I mean, real estate, obviously. We'll probably talk more about that. But what else do you like to do? Do you have a family? Are you?
Yeah,
What do you got going on up there?
I'm married. My husband Ryan is a full stack developer, and my stepson, he is going to be turning 16 next week, so
Okay.
that's fun. So we've done the whole driver's ed thing, and tried to figure out how to balance all of that. But he's a great kid. He's a swimmer and plays tennis, and
Nice.
now he's running track for the high school. So he lives with us primarily and has for the last couple of years. And so that's been a great transition. Honestly, it's been really fun for our family to have him um, in our house full time rather than just the weekends that we used to have. So
Yeah.
yeah. And then as far as things that I like to do, I like to bake. I'm kind of known for being in the kitchen and cooking something sweet. I've done lots of special occasion cakes and wedding cakes and stuff like
Okay.
that. And then the polar opposite of that is I like to do woodworking. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm either in the kitchen or the garage when it comes to um, the entertaining what I like to do type of stuff. And I love
You say
music.
polar opposite, right? You
Mhm.
say polar opposite, but I think this is fascinating because I like woodworking too, and like really any kind of crafty or artsy thing I like.
Anything
Eh,
crafty or artsy. I love it. I love it.
I think there's a common element. I think that there's like the same kind of brain that enjoys figuring out how to find the right shape in a piece of wood or, on
Mhm,
a canvas or whatever
mhm,
loves to figure out that perfect balance of ingredients that comes
mhm,
out into the perfect cake too,
mhm,
right?
mhm. And
And so
also
I don't
figuring out the mix of colors to make the right mix for the fondant to get the
100%.
exactly right. Mhm.
So
Yep.
what's your favorite thing to bake then?
Favorite thing to bake? Gosh, I don't know. My favorite thing to create is special occasion cakes.
Okay.
So I'll do like the is it cake type of stuff. So most recently I made a plate of nachos, which turned out pretty cool. And
Sweet.
last year or 2 years ago I made a salad cake, and so it looks exactly like a salad. So I like doing things like that, but stuff to actually eat, probably cookies.
Okay. Oh my God, cookies. We were just talking about this because cookies are definitely my weakness. Like I've been doing this whole stupid fasting and diet reset and trying to figure my life out and cookies just always seem to be hanging out in the corner like we're here when you're ready to stop lying to yourself.
Exactly. We love you. Do you love us?
I guess more importantly, I should have asked, do you watch the Great British Baking Show?
Oh, yes. Mhm.
Okay.
That would
Okay.
be a kick in the pants to be on some sort of a show like that. I think that'd be really fun.
It's always a funny thing when every once in a while they get someone who's like either from America that ended up living in Europe or Great Britain, and then they try out for the show and then they cook like these American style. How much they talk about it being like an American style thing
Mhm.
versus like a British style thing. I'm
Mhm.
not I'm not the baker. I'm much more of like a grill and outside guy. My wife is the baker. Um yeah, she makes stupid cakes and cookies too. It's
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
It's hard, because my husband's diabetic.
Oh,
For holidays, I'm guilty of this. For holidays, I make everything because I don't have the opportunity to make a ton of sweets in the house because I don't want to kill him because I kind of like him. Um,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
I try not to have too many sweets in the house. So I go overboard when I'm bringing things anywhere else. So yeah, it's kind of the baker marries the diabetic. Like really, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I could see how that would be a bit of a challenge.
It's a bit of conflict of interest.
Mm, mm. So so moving into kind of the theme of the show, right? Like
Mhm,
we talk a lot about, what the show's about, and we kind of briefly talked about it, but um what I really love is to sort of deep dive into people's stories.
mhm, mhm,
So if you had to think of a place where if somebody said, they sat down next to you and they were like, "Hey, tell me your story."
mhm,
Like, what's your story?
mhm. Well, I have lots of stories, and I think I could maybe write a New York Times bestseller. But one chapter in my story happened very recently, and it was just this last year. And I think it was the hardest year of my entire life. And I'm getting choked up already, even just thinking about it. It was so hard. Um, but I would like to share that chapter. A little over a year ago, actually, probably closer to 2 years ago, I decided to start a very large investment project, and it was to build an adult family home. And the reason for the adult family home is a whole nother chapter. I'll just brief on that. My dad my dad was in memory care at the time, and due to violent behavior that was a historic thing for him, it wasn't anything new. He kept getting kicked out of memory care facilities for good reason. They needed to keep their other residents and their staff safe. So he was not able to continue under their care. And so I decided, well, if he keeps getting kicked out of places, I need to have a solution. And so I decided, well, if I own it, he can't get kicked out. So I decided I was going to build an adult family home, and there was going to be an ADU upstairs where he would live one-on-one with a caregiver to keep the other residents safe, and it'd be a better environment for him to be one-on-one. So I bought a house and scraped it, and we were going to start fresh. The house plans that we were building had already been approved by the city. A different investor was going to do a very similar project, but they had to discontinue their plans due to COVID. This is several years after COVID, and so I was like, okay, well, the city told us that these plans have already been approved, so it should be a pretty short approval process, probably 10 weeks or so to get them reapproved. Great, that sounds good. That was not true. Um, about 11 months later, 10 months, 11 months, the plans were approved. And my hard money loan to do this project was for 1 year. So I had about 2 months to build this very large home. It's not going to happen. So already we were off to a really challenging start because we didn't have time, and all the while I was waiting for these plans, I was paying a mortgage on a hard money loan. So that's okay. I got an extension, and we're off to the races. And we start building, and it goes really really well at the beginning, and then things kind of just started getting off track, and I wasn't really sure why. And it should have been there that I stepped in to see what the heck is going on, but I trusted, and I shouldn't have, but so things got little off. And turns out I had been being lied to and stolen from, and some the shortcuts were taken that shouldn't have been, and just I was in a bad position, and I didn't really have much of a choice than to step in a really real way, and that was wearing Carhartt overalls for several months. And I was a construction worker because I needed to be. So I stepped into the project, and it's a very large house. There are um, four, five, six, seven bathrooms, and so I tiled seven bathrooms, and five of them had floor to ceiling tile showers, and I set every tile in that house. And my
Wow.
hands were bleeding from the chemicals. I learned quickly that I needed to be wearing gloves, but yeah, I had bloody hands, and I was there working 10 to 12 hours a day, and I was ordering appliances that I couldn't afford, and I was coordinating I guess, the appliances that was a little bit further down the road. But there was, we had got the drywall and the insulation
Yeah.
and then not only were the normal building things that you would have to do for building, I also had umpteen problems to correct. There were honest mistakes, there were dishonest mistakes or
Sure.
shortcuts. One of the honest mistakes, we had, there was a tree that did not move. It was there the whole time. I say kind of in joke, but the city came to approve one phase of our plans, and like, oh, this tree is too close to the house. You need to cut it down. But you need a permit to cut it down. Of course we do. Okay, so we had to wait for the permit, and the honest mistake is we got the permit number, or the permit application number, and one of my workers confused that for the actual permit number. So he cut the tree down, and then we got red flagged, and we had to pause for about a month, and then have a whole series of people looking at the rest of the vegetation on the property to make sure that everything was good and on the up and up, and we weren't destroying the environment.
Yeah.
And then a, a mistake that I'm not certain if it was honest or dishonest, but the electrical was disconnected from the house initially incorrectly. They didn't contact um, the electricity department
Uh,
to do the disconnection properly, and so when it came to reconnect, they were very hesitant to reconnect the house to the power to the house, and so we were potentially going to have an engineering study done that would take months, and at the end of this months of study, it was very likely that they would determine that we would have to bury the lines. And not only would it be months of waiting while paying a mortgage, it would be potentially 50 grand to bury the lines. I'm like, I don't have that time. I don't have that money. I don't
right.
have any of that. And so luckily, thank sweet baby Jesus, we were able to connect without burying the lines. So that happened, um, and then we finally were done with the project in June, and then we had to wait some more, and we waited to get the licensing done with DSHS,
Right.
and all of the hoops that come through with licensing an adult family home. All the while I was paying a mortgage, and oh, it was so hard. It was such a humbling year. I had to be scrappy. So to add insult to injury, me being my a real estate agent as my main form, my main form of income. The market, I don't know if you realized, last year wasn't good, and so I was not making really any money to pay all of these bills that I was
Yeah.
gaining quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm not that I would have even really been able to sell real estate at the time because I was a construction worker.
Right.
Um, and then very unfortunately, the breadwinner in our house at the time, um, the company that he was working for, had some changes and he got laid off. And so I
Oh,
wasn't making money. He wasn't making any money. And so it was real fun. It was a real fun time. And then because the universe has a sense of humor,
certainly.
the reason, I might remind you, the reason for this home was for my dad to live in. And then my dad passed away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but um
Oh man.
it was still fine because the second reason to the investment not only was to house my dad, it was also, as you can imagine, caring for someone who has violent tendencies is very expensive to care for.
Sure.
And so my mom was pretty much left with not not a whole lot. And so the proceeds of, or the profits of this home are earmarked to take care of her
Right.
when we're not able to take care of her at the level that she needs care. She currently lives with us. We've got an apartment attached to our house.
Okay.
So she's here with us. She's actually in Hawaii right now. But so yeah, so it was a great year. But it taught me so much. Um, it it taught me that I had a village.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was I was given so much grace and so much help. Like I had a crew of, I think, um probably 15 people to help me build cabinets because I couldn't afford to have the company build them. They were prefab cabinets, and so my
Sure.
friends came through and we had a cabinet building party one Saturday, and it was
Mm,
awesome.
yeah.
And I was lent some money, um, and the grace that was given without judgment
Yeah.
was something that couldn't I couldn't have imagined
Yeah.
without going through this. So knowing that I'm so loved and that I can do really, really hard things,
Yeah.
um, because I should have failed so many times over. And the the scariest part for me, if I had failed, was that it wasn't just me failing. It would be driving my family over a cliff because we were so far in, so far beyond what we were ever supposed to be in for this project. So I really had no choice but to figure it out. Um, because it would be devastating on so many levels. So with the help of God and my friends and family, literally pulled through. And we're still not quite there. And we're open for business.
Okay.
Hallelujah, we're open for business. And that happened in December. So so we are active And we have 4 residents, which is fantastic. We're currently licensed for 6, and very soon we will be licensed for 8. So at at this point, we might not be making money. The the bills are still greater than the income, but we're
Sure.
on our way, and the light is at the end of the tunnel. And if something really does go askew at this point, at least I have a finished building that I can sell, and
Right.
not just one that's in pieces. So there's there's my there's my chapter, and
That's the
I'm
most
so
recent
glad.
chapter.
Oh my
You know,
gosh, that was such a chapter.
well, thank you. Obviously, thank you so much for sharing I mean, that's if you haven't gone through a construction project like that, it's really difficult to to understand how just stressful and terrifying and
Mhm,
all that stuff it could be. Um, but then I don't want to gloss over because so my wife took care of her grandparents for over 20 years. Her grandfather had Alzheimer's, but it was really slow onset, so he lived a long time and he retained it and then as soon as he passed, her grandmother ended up with dementia and they had an old house to sell and
mhm,
we dealt with the different facilities. Um Michelle actually, after both her grandparents were gone, she actually ended up going and working in a facility. And I currently work maintenance job in a senior living community that has memory care and assisted living in it as well. And
mhm.
so just you can't imagine how expensive it is to get old anymore. You
Okay.
know, just in not even in terms of like you think medical bills, right? But it's really not. If you imagine someone an adult getting to the point where they literally cannot be on their own,
Mhm.
if you can't be with them 100% of the time, you have to pay someone to be with them 100% of the time, and it's so
Exactly.
expensive, right? It's, like,
It is.
ridiculous.
It is. It is, yeah, it is so expensive, but I mean, 24-hour care, I it makes it sounds really expensive, but then if you break it down for an
Yeah,
hourly wage 24/7,
it's not.
it's not it's not outrageous, or it's not unreasonable what is being charged.
Right.
Um, yeah, the other silver lining that I really should more than just touch on with this is my experience with these transitions with my parents,
Yeah,
and building this home. A light was just turned on of how much it takes to transition a senior from living independently to, taking the different steps along the way. If it's aging in place, fantastic if it can be done safely. And I just learned there's so many services available for aging in place, that seniors can live at home for a long time, in good
yeah,
care. And so
yeah.
so my point of that is I've started, um I'm not sure if it's going to be how to say this. I've started collecting information, and I'm starting to do some videos, interviewing local service providers to help educate the community of what is available and how to go about um, transitioning aging parents and when to start doing different things. So I'm actively networking and making those connections, and it's a niche in my real estate business to help seniors. In fact, I'm a senior real estate agent specialist, according to
Okay.
realtor.com. So I have that certification. But I'm going beyond that, and I'm really trying to be a resource, a Rolodex of people, to call and say, "Hey, Becca, I need in-home care, or I need my parent needs help with meals, or my parent needs help with transportation, my parent needs help with this, that, or the other. I want to be able to have friends and family or the public call me and say, "What do I do?" And I'll be able
Yeah.
to help because it's so hard. It's so hard because so many people are doing making that doing going through that transition in crisis mode because they don't realize how much there is uh, to do, and how many people need to be involved in it, and so
Yeah.
there's no roadmap that I'm aware of, and so I'm trying to create a roadmap. So
I mean, like, what a task, right? And just, I mean, obviously for all the right reasons, but just such a huge undertaking. And even just the, thinking about, I mean, I was just going through the timeline, while you were talking about, you know, I'm waiting for permits. I'm waiting for permits. My dad's here. He needs help. He's violent, right? I'm waiting for
mhm,
permits. I'm running out of money. My dad's still here, right?
mhm,
Like, it's not like
mhm,
that goes away, right? It's not like
mhm,
the I remember, just like my knocking on my bedroom door at midnight and opening it, and grandma's there fully dressed and makeuped up and ready to
mhm.
go, right to
She's
nowhere.
ready to
Like, you
go
have no,
wherever she
she's ready
needs
to
to
go
go.
wherever
Yep,
she needs to go.
yep,
And it's literally nowhere. And
mhm,
then it takes you 4 hours to get her settled back down, and then you have to get
mhm,
up for work, right?
right.
Um, uh, yeah, I think I agree with you that as expensive as it is, it's worth every cent to the person who, number one, having gotten to work with a number of different caretakers now, I just have to say, and I have to shout out anyone who does that as a job or who chooses that
It is
as a
an
line of work.
amazing, absolutely, it's amazing.
It's unbelievable, right? Like,
It,
there has to be something about you that enables you to do it. I don't think that just everyone can do it.
it
Now
is a
that
special person. It is a very special person that works with seniors. The
yeah,
patience, the compassion, and just the care, just the care. It's a whole nother level. It's so a whole nother
yeah,
level, and and having your loved one being cared for by a professional rather than in your home, there's no guilt, there's no shame. Like some people feel guilty about placing their loved one. Don't. It's it your loved one is often in a in a I don't want to say that they're better off not in your home, but that because that's not necessarily true, but it's not you don't need to feel you don't need to feel guilty about not being able to provide 24-hour care to your parents. You've got a family that you need to tend to, and it's not it's okay if you need help.
yeah.
And you seek out help of a memory care facility or an assisted living facility. It's okay. It's okay. I don't know how to
I
better
think
say
that
that because
I
it's
think
what I just said was
that
not.
no, I I think you said it right, and um just having seen it, right? Just watching it and watching,
Mhm,
obviously there's better situations and there's worse situations, right? But if you
mhm,
do the work and you investigate and you check it out and and you're someone who is very, actively involved anyway. That was a huge undertaking,
mhm,
for just for to be able to manage that. Um but you're right. Like literally the unfortunate thing is you see these people in here, and more often than not, no one's ever coming to see them, right? From their family members. A lot of times the people that we have in our community, their family members don't even live in the state, right? So you're going to
Mhm.
hear from them when there's a problem. You're going to see them when they come in to visit. But otherwise, someone's 100% of the time taking care of that person in your life. And, but
Mhm.
like I said,
Mhm.
I can't say enough good things about caregivers and people who choose that, and just the beautiful things that I've seen them doing to make people that really are just in the worst, most confusing place in their life and make them feel comfortable as they can. It's just a beautiful thing to see, you know.
Yeah.
Um, s was your dad violent at home with you too?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um, it's something that I dealt with growing up, um, and my mom and brother, and, like, it happened. It was I don't wanna say it was a family secret because it really wasn't. My brother and I guess I can't speak for him, but when I was very young, I didn't really know that what happened in my household was not normal or healthy. And then when I got older, I kinda knew, but then you don't really wanna necessarily rock the boat, and change everything, but because there was a lot of
Right.
good in my life, and so, yeah, it was. And my mom, she unfortunately didn't have the confidence in herself to make a change, and part of that was
Yeah.
the diminished confidence that she had from living in a domestic violent household. And what we went through is nothing compared to what other people go through. But I mean, everyone's situation is different. As an adult looking
That's
back,
not yeah, that's not a comparison.
it,
You don't need to qualify
yeah, no,
that,
it's,
right?
yeah, you
Like
can't, yeah,
your
you
situation.
can't qualify. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's so I don't want to say that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but I will say that I am a different person, and maybe a more empathetic person,
Yeah.
having gone through what I went through. So, yeah, yeah.
So, did you what actually was his diagnosis? What did he what impairment did he
Yeah,
have mentally?
he had dementia, so Alzheimer's. Um, and it's hard to
Okay.
say when it started because I was actually estranged from my dad, and helping my mom um, from a distance. So she would share stories with me of what he was doing, and I don't think she realized how deep he was in his dementia diagnosis. And so he, for example, they would be watching a brand new TV show, and he would complain like, "Oh, this is a rerun again." And I think what was happening was he didn't want anyone to know that he didn't remember, and so everything was a rerun. Um,
Gotcha.
because he didn't want to admit that he couldn't tell the difference between what he was remembering and what was new because everything was new. And so so it was then that we decided he needed to to make a transition. And so originally we had them um in independent care, the 2 of them in an apartment, in an independent
Right.
living care, and then, we had to transition them again. My mom needed to have a surgery, and she was gonna be in skilled nursing for a while. We didn't realize her recovery was gonna be as long as it was, but, it was such that she needed to be away from the home for several weeks, and it was just not an option to have him living independent at that point. And, the facility that they were in, they weren't able legally, they weren't able to do more than what they could for an assisted position
Right.
without an assessment. And so we had to get an emergency assessment, and it was during her stay um, at the skilled nursing center that we actually transitioned him into memory care, and I really think that that was kind of the only way we could have done it, because
Yeah.
he would have fought it more if she was around, and so it was yeah, so yeah, we moved him when she was away, so but yeah, no, I was doing the majority of this at a distance, so it was pretty complicated,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was estranged from him for obvious well, maybe not obvious reasons, but for obvious reasons. To me,
Sure.
I needed to place some boundaries, from him because the physical violence did not continue into adulthood, but the mental and the emotional
Sure.
manipulation and abuse did continue to adulthood until I just had to stop it and put down some boundaries, and
Yeah.
that's how it was.
Did did the nature of that change when he really started getting into the deeper stages of, because so like when we were taking care of Michelle's grandpa, he in his life he was on the top of the heap, right? He was in charge. He was a driver. He was a constant hard worker. Like he had
Mhm.
all like not overly emotional, not real soft. And then when his mind finally went, his personality changed so much, right? Like he was way softer. He was more loving. He smiled a lot more, um, so I'm always fascinated by the different roads like that disease can take you, right? Did you notice any sort of a difference in besides the forgetfulness, right? And the confusion, did
Yeah.
you notice any behavioral differences?
Unfortunately, no. We believe that there was a mental health issue with him all along that was never diagnosed.
Sure.
So it was hard to know what was that fill in the blank mental health issue and what was the dementia.
Yeah.
Um, the thing that changed that made it more obvious was my mom wasn't around any longer
Right. Right.
to kind of be that filter. So
Right.
she was able to in his dementia years, she was able to redirect him easier, but when she wasn't there to redirect him, he escalated, and so that's where the violence against other people happened.
Right.
And fortunately, unfortunately, I don't even know how to say this, but when as he aged, he was slower, not necessarily slower to react, but he was a slower and weaker, and so she was more safe because she was able to
Certainly.
dodge.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, it makes sense, right? And it's unfortunate that it has to be sort of that proverbial defanging, but
Mhm,
like once you lose that, I mean, it changes everything, right? It changes
mhm,
just your whole outlook on the day of what you wake up afraid of
mhm.
all of a sudden isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
How how have you been since the passing? Like, how are you processing that? Is the,
Yeah, because I had been estranged, the physical, it was more of a mental transition. I don't know. I guess the real answer is I don't know.
yeah.
He passed in June, and it
Oh, okay.
didn't
Yeah.
it didn't change a ton because he wasn't a physical presence for me and hadn't been for a long time. Um,
Yeah.
I did go, and say goodbye. So I had some last moments with him along with my mom. And so I think that helped to give some closure. Um,
What about the your relationship with your mom? Has that changed at all?
no, um, my mom and I are I w- I wish my mom and I were closer. You would think that we would be very close living in the same house, but
Right.
there was such I guess a disconnect in the traditional mother-daughter relationship that
Sure.
I was more in the role of being the mother and honestly still am in that role of being the mother.
Yeah.
So I think we're as close as we can be and will be. Um, but her relationship or our relationship is I don't think it's what either of us want, but it's
Right.
it's
Right.
hard to not have the relationship that we have. It's hard to be closer or deeper than that just because we don't have that history.
Yeah. I can't imagine. Um, yeah, I don't uh, my mom and have always been very different people,
Mhm,
and I don't have that closeness with her either.
mhm,
And I relate to that what you said a little bit, like I don't think that either of us really knows how to fix it, and it seems like if it was more of a priority, we would put more effort into it, I guess, which seems harsh, like it seems cold. I know people that can't imagine not talking to their moms or whatever, but
mhm,
the reality is that my mom's a person, she's a human and I'm a human, and neither of us are perfect, and sometimes people don't get along,
mhm, mhm,
sometimes people hurt other people, and
mhm,
it's harder to get over that, but I mean, I got to tell you, like being that this is the first time I met you, I think it's really amazing. It speaks like beautifully of your character that you went so far to try to create a situation, a safe place for someone who made you feel unsafe your whole life. I think that's really remarkable. Like I don't think that I think I'm kind of tripping on it a little bit. Like I'm not motivated to help my mom right now at this time in my life. I'm just not, like, emotionally, I'm not. And I think that I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do if I got that call like, well, now she needs to come live with you, or now, like I don't know. Or I certainly can't imagine me doing what you did. Right. Like I, I don't even know if you could explain why. Like, maybe
I
not,
can't I
but
can't explain I can't
but
explain
I
it.
think it's amazing. And yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I mean, because it's hard to understand. It's hard to understand why
It's hard for
we
me to
do what we do, but I
understand.
think
I
I
know
think
that I
just in
love my
terms of
mom.
yeah. But you're also not doing it for your mom, right? Like maybe on some level you are. Maybe that's a justification, and maybe you wanted to, I mean, just clearly you're the bigger person in this, without even thinking about it, and not to be light about it, because I obviously you're just still coming out of it, but I really truly think that's an amazing quality. That's a special thing that you have. So I hope that whatever you have to do to be whole and to heal and to be a complete person, I think that like appreciate that about yourself a little bit more. Maybe I don't know. I don't, like I said, I'm just meeting you, so I don't know enough. Maybe you do, but I think
You're
it's worth saying because
you're not the first person that has said that.
okay,
Yeah,
because it's
I don't
crazy, because like I literally it's crazy, it's crazy.
when you say it, yeah, it is. It is a little bit crazy, but it's Yeah,
but not crazy in a sick way. Like I said, I
no,
think
I
just
get it.
like
Yeah, it's yeah.
you can't understand what the caretaker's heart is like if you don't have it, and you can't understand what that mindset is, where whether it's you feel an obligation or whether it's just who you are to do that. um but man, I like honestly, just once I started hitting some of those hurdles, I probably would have been like, like, uh
What am I doing?
I really got to dig deep for this motivation right now,
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
really got to dig for it. I just think that's beautiful. So, well done. And, I hope I want to celebrate you for a minute, just because I think that's a really unique thing. And I don't think, well, I personally know that most people wouldn't do that. And,
Thank you.
so good for you, like I hope I hope that is part of what helps you find your peace in all of it.
It's a silver lining. I feel good about what I did. I I would do it again. I would do it very differently, but I would do it again. Um, and
Sure. Sure. So we
it is
talked about
yeah,
chapters,
I'm
right? We talked about
Mhm,
it's chapters in your story, right? So
mhm,
so I have this great question that I actually stole from a leader at EXP when I was there, Michael
okay.
Valdez. And he always would ask at the end of his interviews, if you were writing the book of your life, what is this chapter called? Because we got like a really good picture, right, of what the last chapter was like. But what's this one called? Where are we going from there?
So the one that I just went through or the one that I'm going into?
The one you're going
Oh,
into, the one
you're
you're
the
in,
video just
right? Like
the one that I'm going into. The one that I'm leading into is um what would I say? This chapter is finally what gosh, I'd have to think on that for a while. Maybe you can edit the video and I'll have my brilliant answer come to me right away in the video because right now
no,
I'm
no, no.
struggling. Um the other side of the
It's an
rainbow?
emotional
I
last
don't know.
chapter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
mean it was
appropriate. I mean, coming into the light, at the end of the tunnel, maybe something along those lines.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think the question is
Yeah,
less about
that seems
like what's your
appropriate.
specific answer, but more right, like where's our headspace at now having come through it, I think.
Oh, I feel so much relief. I feel like we're not done in that we're still working through some things, but everything that we have left to work through is work throughable. I'm not going to take my family off the edge. We're I feel peace. I feel good. I feel accomplished. I feel I survived. I feel a lot of good things. I'm very I'm looking forward to the next couple of years to see how it all how it all plays out and how my hard work serves, you know. So I really I'm excited to see the connections that I've made grow and I'm excited to help more people and help them avoid what I did. So,
Absolutely. So, I mean, again, I always like to end my episodes with gratitude. I am super grateful that I got to meet you and hear your story today. Thank you for being so honest and transparent about it. I fully intend to invite you back a little bit down the road to see what amazing and exciting things are happening in your life and in the next
yes.
chapter. But before I let you go, where can people reach out to you? Where can they find out about what you're doing? How can they plug into being a resource or finding resources for their family members? Where can they go to find you?
Yes, absolutely. So it's a work in progress. So my what I'm currently working on is getting those resources available. I do have a YouTube channel. It's Becca Pitts Realtor, and there is a playlist. Thank you. On my YouTube channel, there is a playlist of my interviews, but I soon will have a new website, and I think it's going to be called Your Next Season, no, Your Best Season, and those videos will be hosted there. But yeah, Your Next Step Team is my website, but more big things to come. But that's the easiest way to find me right now. How's that?
Amazing. No, I love it. I love it. So everybody, make sure you get out there, check out that YouTube channel, check out her website, plug into what Becca's got going on, check out her next chapter and the next steps. While you're at it, hit the like and subscribe button, set your notifications, come back. We love to see you here. We love to hear your stories. We love to connect. If you can relate to anything you heard today, drop those comments down in the chat. We'd love to hear it. But in the meantime, this has been another episode of Sweeter After Difficulty. My guest today has been Becca Pitts. Becca, thank you so much. It was amazing to meet you today.
Thank you. It was really good to meet you too.